Hi and welcome to a new video. My name is the Euphoric Assassin, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the attack system, I guess, from the enemies to the parrying in each games, and how in Assassin's Creed Shadows there's one enemy which is quite annoying, because now I'll address this now just in case someone does watch the video and in the comments they say that when you attack them it resets their attack, which it's like I get that, but in Assassin's Creed Shadows specifically there's like one enemy that just seems to get an absolute load of attacks compared to the rest of the enemies. And it's like when you're pressing L1, 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 it's like, yes, you're supposed to do that until like they get that frustrated that they do a strong attack and you parry enough that they become vulnerable. That's what you're supposed to do it for. But when every other enemy seems to not have as many attacks as this particular enemy, it does get annoying, because it's just like, how many attacks do you get? That's just how you feel. Now, yes, you could zone out and just like, right, it's this guy, right, I have to like press block a bajillion times, but that's besides the point. So in this video I'm going to show Assassin's Creed Origins, which I've not played too much of, to Odyssey, to Valhalla, to Mirage, and I think that's it, to sort of show the attack styles in each of them games and explain why they are slightly better, in my opinion, to that one particular situation.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Right, this first clip here is me showing the, I guess you'd call it, basic enemy, and how the parrying usually goes like this. You parry them, they become vulnerable. Parry them, and they become vulnerable. This is what it should look like normally. But there's certain enemies that take the cake, as you'll see in this next clip here.
Yeah. Get it, mother trucker. What's wrong with her? How many attacks? Tell me, what were different with that last parry to all the other parries that I just did?
So yeah, as you've just saw, that I'm like, how many attacks did he get? Because
absolutely nothing.
like I said, when most attacks, because of like unlocked the mastery tree, where even like what should be unblockable attacks and a blockable, parryable, whatever you want to call it, that it's just so annoying when like other enemies seem to have less attacks, like 3 attacks, 4 attacks at most, and you've got these guys, 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5. and counting on, and you're like, goodness sake.
Yeah, but we said on DVD. Unlucky.
So yeah, what I'll do now is I'll include a couple of other clips of showing like where there's unparryable attacks, but I can parry them because of, like I said, in the master tree I've unlocked it to guys who have similar weapons but also have less attacks and become vulnerable with less parries, and that's why I run into them guys, it gets so annoying so very quickly. I know it's about patience, but it still gets annoying. And again here, it's also inconsistent because from what I can see, he gets less attacks here. Like, they'll do a flurry of attacks and then sometimes they'll do 2 attacks, where here, he only does 1 and I'm making vulnerable. So I don't know what the actual difference is. I don't know if it's RNG, I do not know.
Repeatedly do it and you don't get a break into... Hey?
Right, well here, I have a clip from Assassin's Creed Origins, but I'm not too familiar with the fighting skills, fighting mechanics, whatever you want to call it. As I played this game a ton on the Xbox, but I say a ton, like I completed the story, did the Hidden Ones story, and did the Curse of Pharaohs up to a certain point, and then I played a lot more of Odyssey, played a lot more of Valhalla. Mirage I've recently played. That's still pretty recent, it's still a pretty new game. So, you know, remembering the mechanics of them games isn't as difficult as perhaps this one, because this one being like the older of like the newer installments, if you will, after Syndicate. So here, I'm not too sure if I'm blocking because I've just by default got the shield out, or if me pressing L1 actually blocks the attack. I am not too sure. So again, I'm just trying to show that the enemies don't, you know, have like 6 billion attacks here, that their attacks are vulnerable. Like here, I'm not... I do sort of like parrying, but it's not 100% clear. But I just thought I'd show this game, just to show like the parrying is simpler, if you will. Right, well, in Odyssey, to parry, this is the one where they decided it would need 2 buttons to parry. You had to press RB, LB, or L1, R1, respectively, on Xbox and PlayStation. I don't know what it is on PC, because I've never played it on PC. So I'm sure that you'd be able to, like, I don't know, keybind it and stuff like that if you so desired, but this is something that is missing in Shadows, and I'm sure there's like other games that have come after Odyssey where you can attack from horseback. It is something that I enjoy in this game. And one other thing that is also missing in Shadows, when you're playing as Nawe, you can't put enemies off the horse and assassinate them. That's kind of like, oh, I wish that was so in the game. But as you can see here, that I'm pressing L1 and R1, and I am parrying even the big guys. Like, look at how big that guy is. I have like abilities, as you can see, and it's L1 and L2 to activate the abilities. I'm trying to deal with this guy because like he's firing multiple arrows, which I don't remember that being a thing. But you know, it's like I'm just showing here that I'm parrying, but if you spam it too much as well, you become vulnerable to being attacked. But as you can also see here, the developers also thought like if you expose your back to the enemy, they'll also attack you. And the mercenaries in these games always hit like a truck, or for the most part hit like trucks, because as you can see, the enemies here aren't doing too much damage. And what's the difference when the mercenary hits me? Maybe they didn't get proper hitting, but here I'm just showing that even the big mercenaries with big weapons are parryable as well. To sort of show like, well, right there, just going for a big attack, parried it. Simple as that. So there's not a lot more that I can say about it. This will be the only clip from Odyssey, because relatively, I think most enemies, their attacks are parryable basically. Right, these next clips coming up are going to be from Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I talk about Brush with Death, which is blocking out the way, slowing down time, and talk about the different enemies, and I think all of them are universally parryable. I do talk about unblockable attacks, because there's like certain times where an enemy will run at you and that seems to be unblockable. There's this guy with this big sword who can bait you out and like move and then hit you, stuff like that. But generally, what I also talk about is that guy where I'm like, how many attacks in Assassin's Creed Shadows? What I say is that if I could damage them with every time I block, you'll see how much damage the enemies take in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, where if that applied in Shadows, they wouldn't even be standing. Right, well, in Valhalla, I will, let me make sure, is it circle? No. Squares to block out the way, right, and L1's to block. Well, if these guys attacked a lot in this game, you get a rude awakening. Let me just assassinate this kid first. Hold on. Maybe a higher level, but see what I mean? Look. Look. All I have to do is press L1 and they take damage. So if in Assassin's... Right, well you'll notice in this clip that the enemies take a lot more damage, but as you'll notice to the right of the screen where it's got numbers, I have used the points up. So now I'm actually doing the true amount of parry damage that they'd normally take. And as you can see, it is actually quite significant actually how much damage they take, because watch how much damage this guy takes right now. Look at that, it's almost basically one shot. I could have left him and he'd have died to that ability, but you know, it's like I'm just using the stun attack just to end the fight there. So like I said, if this were the case in Shadows with those guys that attack a lot. If every time they attacked, even if it's like, oh, I gotta get like my 700 attacks in, it's like chip away, chip away, chip away, chip away. So attack as many times as you want, because I'm just gonna kill you by parrying you. It'd be done and dusted pretty much.
Right, well, this big guy tends to have a different attack strategy. He tends to like bait you. But again, like I said, blocking's the same. I could do brush with there. Just show him up like that. And then the only other one I'd sort of look for is like the guys with the flail. But essentially they're the same as well. Right, what are you doing? Here as a flail, and it's essentially the same thing. That one's unblockable, like I said, but as you've seen, I can parry his normal attacks. And then in Asgard, you've got enemies that sort of TP, but once you learn their pattern, they're not difficult either. What are you doing? What are you doing? In Assassin's Creed Mirage, they wanted you to get your timing down for when you... That's unblockable. But essentially blocking was quite... I keep forgetting. Try it again. As you can see. God damn! No, please! No, you die. Oh shit, please.
I'll hack you to bits!
No!
Catching yourself yet?
Yeah. It's like... Again, we're a bit late. Dodge that. And then like dodge. The only time you sort of... Well, you don't sort of panic, but like... The person who attacks the fastest is the main guy when your notoriety is completely up. But in this one, if I tried... That might be the guy actually. Like, no, he's the guy who'll kill my kill my bird, never mind. But if you attack too quick, there's a cooldown on it and you'll get attacked. As you saw with unblockable attacks, it's unparryable, so you're supposed to dodge out of the way. As you can see, you do have a stamina bar as well, so you can't go crazy. So in Mirage, they made the combat a little more challenging, but you don't get guys attacking multiple times. Right, well in Assassin's Creed Mirage, I have created enough conflict to trigger the elite guy, which is what I was talking about, where I cannot assassinate him.
Target in sight.
He is too powerful, and watch his attacks. Oh shit, I might die. But once you get his... Oh shit, no! Holy crap. No! I need to... So yeah, his attacks are a little quicker. He's a little tougher. Once you collect from him, you get your stuff back. But once you defeat him, your entire conflict goes away, even though it is showing here post to remove here, which is here. I'll remove it just for the sake of it. But as you see, my notoriety isn't there. So it's showing that there because it's like, that was like one way I could lower my notoriety. But let's climb up here because they'll probably discover that they've been pickpocketed. So like I said, with that guy, he attacks pretty quick. He's the most difficult enemy in the game. But as you saw, once I parried him, I returned a lot of damage back to him. Managed to do a back attack, had to use a heal, blocked that other guy, and pretty much insta-killed that other guy. So there's a bit of dread that kicks in when that guy is summoned. So a lot of players will, when they start getting a bit of notoriety, it will remove posters and stuff like that just to avoid him, because like as you saw, he took a lot of my health away pretty quickly. But like I said, the developers with Mirage created a balance with the conflicts, that it weren't just, oh, you can R1 and L1 like in Odyssey and just block almost everybody, or like in Valhalla where like pressing L1 just seems to do a lot of damage, or pressing square to dodge to use brush for death just made things a ton easier. They decided to make you really feel that Basim's experience as an assassin, he really had to work to survive that. He were in a way dealing with enemies that are somewhat experienced, and you should feel that. Yeah, so in closing, I don't mind the parrying mechanic in the game whatsoever. I don't mind that, but it just seems like, you know, like I said, when in Valhalla, when you dodge attacks, which I think might be a perk on your abilities tree, it just becomes annoying because it's like, how many attacks do you get? Like I said, I know like attacking the enemy, it'll reset their attack, but it's just like, oh, for goodness sake, it's this guy. You know, like with every other enemy, it seems like you can just deal with them pretty promptly. They've got a certain amount of attacks and basically just get handled pretty much conveniently. It seems reasonable. With these, you have to like, right, I have to be a bit more patient. I have to hold L1, press L1 a little bit more till they become vulnerable, and then I can do my damage. So I don't mind the parrying in Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I've just highlighted parrying across like the ones from like next gen, if you will. So yeah, that concludes this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. But yeah, a little gripe of mine.
Yeah, but who said on DVD?
Give her mercy, I'm not even doing that. Like, all I'm trying to do is choke some kid, that's it. That's all I'm trying to do, look. The living choke slam of doom! Yee. Yeah, like civilian casualties was the thing that I was worried about. What are you doing? What are you doing? I will show you why I am the brother to John Swammers. They call me One Thomas. Unlucky. Run! Run, Hobbit! Run, you moron! Move, you bastard!
Get wrecked! Oh!
Unlucky.
A few moments later.
Right, shut up. It's me, John Swammers. I had to do it. Don't do it! Oh shit. No! I should be fine. I should be fine. Yeet. Don't do it, dog, please. Please look at the kids. Yeet. Please don't need to tag up at the kids. Yeah. Oh shit.
Get wrecked!